Welcome back to Gamers Without Borders. Our EU semi-finals in our Counter-Strike competition are over. We are left with two grand finalists, and they're going to be battling it out to see who can punch that ticket to Gamers 8 later this year. And of course, we have $1.25 million up for grabs in charitable donations. I'm joined in the virtual studio by Kassad and by Yanko. Gentlemen, we have Looking for Org going up against Fnatic. Fnatic's match ended up going 19-16. What's the first words that spring to mind when you see these two teams going up against each other? Kassad.
I mean, it's a clear. Fnatic is the clear favorite on this one, and I do believe that they will be able, just on the raw skill, to overcome the L4O and get their spot into the Gamers 8.
I like it. I like your thoughts about that. Why not? If any of you are actually interested in a bit of context, maybe a little bit of history about these two orgs. Heat, which is, the majority of L4O's org coming into this, faced Fnatic twice in 2022. And it was 1 win and 1 loss. And that makes absolutely no difference because it was a year ago. So it doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah, and I think when you look at Fnatic, the word that comes to my mind is Sage. Mostly because, you go and you eliminate G2 in the 1-2 game. You play really well. You close out Vertigo down 13-14 T side. And then you go versus Into the Breach, some of your countrymen for Mezzi and Kita, right? And that's where you really falter as a big favorite, get demolished on that Vertigo decider, the same exact map. I think only 3 rounds on the CT side. So yeah, probably feeling like very disappointed at the moment in themselves that they weren't able to book a spot in the playoffs. So maybe a little bit of a consolation here, right? Maybe being able to let some of that anger out, let it manifest on the server. All for a good cause, of course.
Let some of the anger out on the server for a good cause. I like that. So we could talk a little bit about some individuals, players who've been pulling their weight so far. Let's say on the side of Fnatic, Nico went 35-21 in the map that went 19-16 against 500. On the CT side, on Overpass, he actually went 21-8. And, on the side of L4O, Maka's looking strong as usual. But if I'm being totally honest, I don't think there's any real standout performances, which actually could be good news because, let's just say Nico doesn't show up like he did earlier, then L4O should look pretty favorable, Kassad.
No, I don't think so. But the thing
trying.
is, because a Fnatic has multiple good pieces. Mezzi, even though he's the IGL, he can always perform well. Crims is an old-timer, but still a very, very good player individually. Nico does is, like you said, he's like either hit or a miss. Sometimes he's very inconsistent, and they have Roy, who is in the same boat as Nico does. So even if he doesn't show, there is a decent chance at least that some of the other players show up and deliver what's needed for the victory.
I like it. Okay, fair enough. We've got our vetoes coming in thick and fast. Okay, Yanko, can you take us through some of these decisions? Are they the right ones? Are they favoring Fnatic, L4O? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm not really sure. I think I don't know who is who because the logos are wrong. So I don't know who's Fnatic here, who's L4O.
L4O's pick is Anubis and Fnatic's is Ancient.
Okay, so Fnatic vetoed Inferno. That's interesting because their 2 weakest maps are Mirage and Anubis, right? So this is probably knowing that L4O doesn't play Mirage, believing Inferno, they know that Anubis is going to be the pick. So this might be the case of them just wanting to play Anubis to get some practice on the map, which is completely legitimate for this type of an environment.
It could be a trap. It could be a trap. Could be like, maybe they think that we are bad on Anubis when we are actually not that bad. We can maybe, find some gaps in their game and exploit the things that we saw in the games before. So overall, not a bad veto for Fnatic. I like the Ancient pick. I was thinking they're gonna go for Overpass, which got removed in the second stage, but Ancient is also good. We saw them defeating G2 a couple of days ago in a very convincing fashion.
Now, if it does go the distance and we end up on Nuke, how Fnatic looking on Nuke, up to this point in the past 3 months?
I think they're looking absolutely incredible. I mean, they have to be because that's the map that G2 could have had against them in the decider, where they had one of the great streaks earlier this year. So if they decided to not go for that and go for Vertigo in its own right. Fnatic might be the best Nuke team in the world. Banks, I'm not sure.
Okay.
According to the management and not the management, but the coaching staff and the IGLing of G2.
The middle management.
Quick prediction from you guys. Quick prediction from you guys. Kasad, I'm going to come to you first. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Fnatic, maybe 2-1, simply because the guys from L4O are riding the confidence wave right now, but overall should be a Fnatic win.
I've been wrong, I think, for every single game besides the MIBR 80k one, so I'm going to go against my original instinct. I'm going to say L4O.
Okay, going against the instinct. I like a bit of butting heads in the studio. That's what we like at Gamers Without Borders. Right, we are in it now. One best of 3 for all the glory. One of these teams is going home, and one of these teams is going to Gamers 8 to battle for that $1 million prize pool. So, let's head over to Bardolph and Hawker to take us into our first map.
Thank you very much. Indeed, an interesting series ahead of us. Surely this has to be a must-win for Fnatic. There were plenty of good reasons for that on the desk. Would you agree with that, Hawker?
I'll be honest, James, I did not hear any of what you just said. I don't know if I've set something up.
Oh, I haven't turned my microphone on. How about
that? That's always good.
There we go. Buy some extra time. So as I was saying to myself, we saw plenty of great reasons from the desk on why Fnatic should be obviously a heavy favorite coming into this one. Are you in agreement with that? I mean, it's hard to disagree with that. We've got evidence versus not much in terms of LFO. So are you expecting a rout here from Fnatic?
Oh, it's hard to say just because they're just coming off of the major disappointment. So it's almost hard to know exactly how much their heads are going to be in the game. But they did get a really tight win against 500, even when they got drug into those sort of later stages into the overtime. So yeah, I think Fnatic should be favored here. I think Anubis is going to be really interesting. Fnatic leaving this one in. Haven't played it too much, so I'm excited to see if they've maybe been sneakily putting in some time on this map, and we'll get to see exactly what they look like on it. And Anubis always fun to watch as the newest map in the pool.
Absolutely. That Hotel Farah logo looks like a drone to me. Either way, it will be interesting to see Fnatic on this map. They must have been scrimming it because not much data in terms of officials, but I can't assume they've left it open by mistake. So we'll see what they have to offer. It'll be an interesting journey. Fnatic, no UK mans to go against. That seems to be kryptonite for them at the moment. Seems to be kryptonite for a lot of people, actually, UKCS, in fairness.
Yeah. Nice to see.
About time it was kryptonite, About time he started messing people up.
I know, right? I still listen. I don't know why I think this, because I know that they probably will get spanked by Vitality, but I still think there's a chance they can make that series fun. I hope the boys can.
Yeah, I've put Vitality going to the finals, but I think that this is, I feel like the majors have become harder and harder to get your pick'ems right as time has gone on, and this one is just out of control. It's just literally anyone's guess. But this one might be less so. It's down to LFO to prove us wrong in that respect as they start on the T side of Anubis. A P250 will be out for them. For Macazin, he'll be made the raid boss. One for Joko as well, so no Deagle in a pistol round from these boys, but 2 raid boss P250s instead. Much more sensible approach if you ask me. Roy with the Julies, he'll be raid bossed as well. Crimson Mezzi will be the grenade men for the squad. Sacrificing the Kevlar for the flashbangs. Dropping a smoke and a HE to their armored teammates as well. LFO like a slow round. And this looks to be another one, even in the pistol. Slowly edging forward, trying to find safe passage for this bomb. In the hands of Exercise now. Not showing, as you can see, Joko's going fishing with this P250.
Ooh. They really do like to take their time. I think we could have a similar clash of styles here. Fnatic are a team who also like to play like this on their T side. So that'll be fun to watch. Get to see how that plays out. as the series goes on. For now, it is going to be LFO starting to group up outside this B site. They have this flank coming in from Jocko. Oh, the turn back from Fasher at just the right time. And the bomb's going to try and come in here, but this does not look good right now. They are getting absolutely destroyed on their approach to this B bomb site.
Yeah, there's a number of issues here for LFO if they don't do more damage, which we'll get to later. Makazin still fishing for something. Put out of his misery. Nikodos and Fasha have perfect Kevlar. They'll get the cheap rifles if they want them. That's such a difference maker to a CT side at the beginning as well. And again, LFO just edging forward, poking, prodding, but Fnatic ready for the test.
Yeah, they're ready. Clearly prepared on this one for Anubis. Good to see. I think for LFO, they were just hoping that flank would really cause the chaos there, but fair play to Fasher. Had a fantastic pistol. And speaking of Fasher, he might be tested again here. He's got the 1M4, and he is committed to this B site right now. Needs to be a little careful here.
In they go. Fasher has got to stop that rifle from getting into the hands of the opponent. Has he done enough? Mezzi's here just at the right time. Got a good angle. That's a great scout shot, though. Some notable damage here from LFO. No plant, 2 frags. The rifle will be collected by Fnatic, and all seems to be well on the Anubis front as far as the CT side are concerned. LFO about $3,000 per person. So this will be a lighter buy, but could still be a dangerous one if they eke out some more Tech 9s.
Yeah, all good for Fnatic in that one. And we actually get the AK dropped over to Jocko. So instead of going for pistols across the board, they're happy to leave Maka short on money and just see what this hero AK can do. But a lot of Eastern European teams used to play this sort of style, just getting 1 AK in these rounds and really trying to maximize what that one rifle can do. See LFO really looking to eke out any advantage they can find. Playing it pretty slow, but Nikodos has taken the fight to Maka on the other side of the map. That means Fnatic have pushed all the way out through B, so these A players should be very well prepared here on the hold.
Oh, that's a nice bunch up for Crims to do some good damage. Fasher will steal the kills of a HE grenade. Very rough existence for LFO super early. Trying to do what he can, but that AK is surely going to be collected by someone. Promising start then for Fnatic. That's exactly what you want to see when you swing out awkwardness. People with grenades in their hands. Couldn't ask for a better scenario.
Yeah, the money will also be so nice for Fnatic now. Anubis, we know, has been very T-sided as of late. So getting this strong start on the CT side, getting a bit of money built up, always a very good sign. Ooh, nade stack. Big damage from that onto Roy. He's down to 12 health. I'm really enjoying seeing some of the utility on display on Anubis. And now Nikodos taking a molly.
Perfect timing from Mezzi. Could not have been better. Delay as long as possible. How did they get this Mac 10 into use then? Surely wanting to swing at close quarters. What is Mezzi up to here? Not much, it seems. Risks being taken with the crap guns, not really working out for them. Fasher will show presence. Do LFO read that as 2 players or 1? Obviously, they want to target the weaker bomb site. We'll see Nikodos on the rotation now. Crims will soon be very exposed. You can hear that Mac 10 rotating over. He has been spotted. Slowly falling back. So many players to deal with here. He has no idea what's compromised and what's not. Difficult round with only 3 players here, but Fnatic may have their players in the right direction as Fasha continues to hold. As soon as Lucky looks away, the bomb's been lost. A narrow victory maybe for Fnatic in this one. Really hard to stand there and be devoid of information, but they have delivered and they'll keep a clean sheet for now.
Yeah, these slow rounds not working out for LFO. I really liked that mid-round call from Fnatic. The mid players got forced back, so they just sent those mid players over to A, grouped up with 3, and said, let's just push out through A. Let's try and get some info in the mid to late round. And then they're able to get players back towards that B site in time. Interested to see whether LFO switch up the pace at any point. And also what they buy into this round. Because Hadji still has that AK. The rest of the squad with enough money to buy, but it wouldn't be great. If you wanted to get those AKs out, you would be very short on nades. Could see a half buy here from LFO. Yeah, what a start from Fnatic. Looks very composed. Haven't really seen LFO get that close in these rounds so far. And it is indeed going to be the half buy alongside that saved AK.
I like that double nade we saw in that previous round.
Yeah, that was cool.
Anubis is so visually engaging, which I think is promising from a casual player's POV as well, because you need the casuals to be playing these maps. Oh, Nikodos helping out there, and Roy is here if needed. Okay, that wasn't what we were expecting to happen. And while the bomb has been lost in mid, a lot of ground has been lost by Fnatic as well, which compromises their positions and will spread them very thin. They're all on islands playing alone now as they try to keep abreast of what is happening. You can see LFO all bunched up together with 3 rifles now. Quite a dangerous round, and for a team who like to be slow and methodical like LFO, that's so much time to play with, but Fasha take things into his own hands there. That is quite a difference maker for the squad. Not much info as to where the remainder are, but he continues to flank. Obviously, he's got 2 options. He smokes off one side of mid and will head towards the other. But again, it's still unfavorable in these choke points for Fnatic in these 2v1 situations. But they'll have the power of the off angles. And as this clock continues to tick down towards 20 seconds, it gets more urgent for them. Crims can hide in plain sight now or just force the action. Again, it gets nervous for Fnatic, but they deal with it in confidence.
Yeah, that round got a little sketchy. But Mezzi just winning an all-important fight there. Once you get into those 3-on-3s, it's so important the CTs can just win that next fight. Otherwise, you're so spread across the map, you're likely going to lose a ton of map control. And then Crims, reliable as ever, as that A-site anchor right now. 5-0, hasn't even died yet. And thankfully for Fnatic, they built up some money in previous rounds, so not a big deal. And wow, Mezzi, so aggressive. Fnatic taking the fight to LFO right now. Trade does come through, so LFO won't be too worried about that.
So difficult to try and understand what LFO are doing mid to late rounds. They really wait to punish you for seeking that information. 4-on-4, we'll see how Fnatic deal with it in round 6. So we can see LFO are quietly, slowly, ever so slowly, looking to collapse on this B bomb site. No lurkers towards A. Look at that play from Roy. Perfect timing for him. Fnatic understand what might be happening. Grenades towards the entrance as LFO have lost position. They've got no lurkers to rotate with either. 30 seconds on the clock here, and gambles will have to be taken if they still want to make a play in this round. Scrambling through mid, and Nikados has an off angle for this. It's going to be hard to deal with and very expensive indeed. Down goes Haji. That is a hell of a peek, though, through the wall from Makazin. But how can they get a bomb plant here? That's still the question. The bomb's still in that mid position. Look at this peek from Makazin. Fires his shot. How many more does he have left in the magazine? Fasha's on the way now, but Crims has been dropped. If he can get this bomb plant, then maybe he's in the clutch here. Dying seconds, and LFO are still alive. Fasha waiting for his teammate to get into position. This gives Makazin time to move forward. 3 places these 2 players can come from, though. So he is gambling. He's got to go quick scope mode now. Very nice from Makazin. Can he clutch this? That's unbelievable. 4 kills. A really hard round for LFO to win, but they're on the scoreboard.
And even getting into the bomb site, I thought was going to be a step too far because the time was so low. It's a drop down from Roy. Nikados here first gets wall banged. I mean, this shot from Maka, crazy. And then Crim was in a strong spot, but Maka just does enough to be able to win that fight to get himself access to the bomb site. And then from there, he just didn't look back. Made it awkward for the CTs to be able to trade him out. Big round from LFO and exactly what they needed. So they finally get their first round on the board. And remember, they had that slow start against Astralis earlier. And then they had an incredible bounce back in that game. So just because they've got off to a slow start doesn't mean they can't come back into this one. We've seen that already.
Really willing to grind these rounds out, LFO.
Ooh, double stack. Roy has been dealt with, but they're not ready for Fasha.
Great bait setup. Can Fasha disengage, though? Or is he looking for more? He's done great work there. He can fall back now, and they can set up another bait. They know one of these remaining 2 players is here, but Makazin's found Fasha. And that's something they won't be able to respond to. Was that heard by Nikados? Sloppy exit from exercise. Might be some crucial info for Fnatic. If he was in range of that sound cue. There's less urgency to peek, but there's a 2-man push coming in from the A-bomb site. Crims comes out first. Now, Exercise only sees one of these 3 players on the def cam, which is important as well. Makazin doesn't have as much as information as he might have liked. That is such a specific grenade. Exposes the legs if there was a CT there who tried to do something. That's the lineup for those of you at home. Again, just waiting to punish a peek here, but the clock is not in his favor here, Makazin. Oh, he's so fast, though. 20 seconds to go. Has he got enough time to clear the site properly? Mezzi not showing. Grenade out, and as soon as he hears that, that's the time to strike for Mezzi. Very dangerous AWP, though, in the hands of Makazin. It's almost Magazin, which means shop in French. Maybe it's a play on words there. Either way, he's dangerous with that sniper.
Yeah, it definitely looks like the win condition right now on the LFO side. It's their highest rated player in the last 3 months, as is often the case for the AWPers. Nice explosive play.
I think his name might be Makazin, actually. Because Magazin with an S is shop. Magazine is magazine in French, which I think is a Z. So his name is probably Makazin.
I gotta say, I'm liking the mid-round aggression, or even the early round aggression Fnatic are going for. They're just always doing something on the map. They just pushed out through B here, so they got a lot of info that B is clear. That means Crims will be ready for this A play.
He's got a great lineup, straight through the smoke as well. Nothing LFO could do about that. And Roy will cut them to pieces. The grass has been shortened. There's nowhere to hide. Rough situation for Lucky then. Look at all those CTs just around the corner. Oh, man. Everybody very, very patient. How wide does he swing here? He's just edging forward. Look at that triple peak. That was amazing. The synchronization was wonderful.
Yeah, they were happy to wait. Bait him into an angle and then be ready to swing together. No stone going unturned for Fnatic right now. Again, just getting that early info towards B means the rotate comes in towards A. Crims gets that first kill through the smoke. Was against the half buy, but it's still just so clean from Fnatic right now. And remember, this is L4O's map pick. Fnatic looking fantastic here. It's a really nice sign that they've got these plays on Anubis. That's not a good sign, though. Mezzi just gets spammed through the smoke.
That's a big pickup for L4O. And it does make a dicey situation for Fnatic as well, because again, L4O, they love to wait for these kind of plays. They don't always have the 5v4 to encourage it. Oh, he's seen an elbow here, but he has to wonder. Again, Haji's patience really paying off, being rewarded now. That's a painful lesson for Fnatic to learn about L4O's style on this T side. 3 plays remaining. They could be broken here, Fnatic. So awkward. The Joko wins, and there's nothing else for Fnatic to do here. They've got to hold on to these weapons, surely.
Yeah, absolutely a safe call in this scenario. And I'm a little surprised that Roy got caught out by that player holding mid there. I feel like you've got to be ready for someone holding for that exact drop down, considering the fact you just saw a player fall back. Wasn't looking that way. Unfortunately, just got baited in. Wasn't ready for the angle. And once L4O get the man advantage, they're able to deal with the aggression comfortably. And they even want to hunt here. Or at least going to have a look. Oh, Crims goes back. He'll take that kill. And the T-side economy is also weak, but that's the AWP of Nikodos dropped. There will still be money for Fnatic, but L4O is a big reinvestment there.
Key round then for L4O. We've seen their catch-ups before. This would be the time for another one. Lovely grenade towards the stairs. Speaking of grenades, the airstrike is here again. Roy's seen nothing and he's 15 HP. Nikodos seen a lot. Trying to buy some time. This is awkward for Fnatic, especially with Roy's HP. Joko peeking into the A bomb site, which is uncontested at present. Akazine creeping around at mid position. Roy saying hello briefly. Again, can't outstay his welcome. Very nervous situation for him. Minute 4 on the clock as exercises drop. Nikodos has been looking for frags for a while. That's a great way to put things back into their favor. But still, a minute for L4O. They love a lurk.
Yeah, Nikodos has just been so active in this round. This time, the fight goes his way again. What a round Nikodos is having, just activating all over the map. And Mac has sat back so far. I mean, I don't think there's anything for him to do here. I was just watching an interview with Cypher from Into the Breach, and he was talking about playing against Nikodos on Fnatic and saying that Nikodos is very active and gets crazy as an AWPer. I think he said that Nikodos has the crackhead energy is the way he described it.
Oh, I love crackhead energy.
Why not?
Saw plenty of that when I went up north earlier this week.
I'm sure.
2 dudes in a phone box, man, looking very suspicious.
But yeah, what a round Nico does. Not easy to do that with the AWP. Find so many early fights like that.
Yeah, that was a nice turnaround from Fnatic. Awkward at the beginning. But somehow they found the space, especially against a team like L4O who are constantly trying to punish you for looking for that space. They still found a way there. Undeterred, Fnatic, not going to play scared. Oh, Joko just had good timing there. Crims will try to do what he can, but he is super on fire. And this is one I would be surprised if Fnatic could turn around. Going to need some individual brilliance here. Mezzi will show some presence and get on that rotation. But that smoke is put out immediately. That Molotov is put out immediately. So if he was giving away some footsteps to rotate, those have been heard, and L4O are moving into position to potentially split a bomb site here if they are heading towards B. But where are they headed? They're kind of holding position with 2 smokes up around this mid area for now. And again, with no noise either. It's just so awkward for Fnatic, but they have concentrated their efforts into one position on A. I would imagine that if L4O head towards B, Fnatic will hold position. It is unclear as to where they might be headed, though. The bomb is quite static in the hands of Lucky as well. You can see on the radar, everybody's static for L4O. But Fnatic have made all their decisions now, so they will be static as well.
Static Fnatic. Stacked on this A site. Yeah, I think L4O were just scared that that bomb is completely alone. Now they've got another player alongside the bomb. It can start to move towards B. And they will begin to realize that B is completely clear, especially with Maka getting that info. Spots a couple of players over towards A. Fnatic just taking that risk here. When you're down in a 3v5, it's pretty common for teams to stack a site like this and say, okay, if we get our read right, we can play for the round win. If not, well, at least we can save our guns. And Fnatic still have a bit of money in the bank. So they might just be able to subsidize a buy into the next. That is assuming they can save these 3 guns. But it looks like L4O aren't too interested in hunting right now. Really just comes down to those mid fights, though. I was surprised that Crims moved forwards. I think he might have even moved into 2 mollies there because he burned really quick. There were the 2 mollies down. They might have had a bit of overlap in the middle. He burned real quick, ended up getting spammed. And when that opening move goes so wrong for you, not much Fnatic can do in that one. Roy's still playing that same spot on mid. He's been naded there a couple of times. No one there this time. L4O all leaning over towards A. It's the AWP of Nicodos currently holding that bomb site. So it might be difficult for that AWP to fight ahead of any T-side utility when it comes in here.
Big execute. Nicodos is going to need some... Oh, never mind. He gets decapitated immediately by Joko. Oh, and Fnatic have called this one already. They've lost position. They cannot afford to take further risks in this one if they want to have a bye in the next round. Very prompt round win for L4O. Right round to make the right play. Joko, the right man to find the entry. Before the camera could even change, full decapitation. 4th round for L4O in this game of Anubis. So what do you think of what you've seen so far from Fnatic on this Anubis, bearing in mind there isn't so much data out there on Anubis for them?
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm pretty impressed. I like how much CT aggression they've been able to pull off. I do wonder how it would go if they are left in more standard rounds where the aggression wasn't working. I would be interested to see how those rotates would go. But so far, they've just been finding ways to get aggressive to win a lot of their rounds. And it is really hard on the CT side of Anubis right now. So I'm impressed. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Fast picks from Magazine. We have seen grenades in this position on the stairs through the A-bomb site as well. It'll be a very important 1v1 if Nikodos takes it here. AK versus the M4. He has some support though in Roy. Such a nervous scenario as LFO. They're just lurking. They're just lurking around corners, man. It's so tense. Almost feels a bit like a game of train. There is an X on the radar, but you can ignore that. Sure, that'll get reset. Everybody is standing for now. 44 seconds, and it's such a slow march from LFO towards mid, and they will still yield results as Nikodos tries to reposition. Here they come then. And now the numbers game is overwhelming. Crim's only good for the one there. LFO are not quick, but they are sudden.
Yeah, man, slowing their overall approach to the round. But as soon as they make their decision, they were so speedy up through mid. You could see Fnatic weren't ready for it. And it feels like that is becoming the problem position for Fnatic. They want to fight aggressively on mid with a couple of players, but then just getting caught as they try and fall back, losing that first man. Made it really difficult for them to win those trades. I do wonder whether Fnatic can adapt at any point to this really slow style and maybe hold on to some nades for the late round. Because LFO are taking so long in pretty much all these rounds. But for now, it is LFO starting to come back into this one. That's good to see from LFO. It worked very hard to get to this point in the qualifier. All their wins were fairly close. 16-11, 16-13, 16-12. Taking down two pretty solid teams in Nine and Astralis. So you wouldn't want to see them get blown out as soon as they make it to the final on their map pick. Looks like they are starting to find their way into this one now. Not the best buy for Fnatic. Maybe that's why Mezzi's taking a risk with that AK. It's crazy to me Roy keeps playing here. With the amount of times we've seen nades, I'd be scared.
He refuses to be conditioned to not play his planned game. That's not an easy thing to do. This is, like, I'm very amused by these approaches from LFO because they're just so menacing in this mid position. Ooh, bit late on the peak there. Royal gets something out of it. That's not a rifle lost either, which is important. Moving accuracy of the MP9 is still in play. Two-man setup over towards A. Exercise lurking over as Macazines removed that weapon of Joko's. Has been disposed of or hidden somewhere. Again, just that they're just waiting for you. Elbow spotted. Flashbang avoided. Nice from Nikados. And Macazine is there to trade. 2v3 for rifles then. Bomb not planted just yet as they close the distance. They'll be looking for opportunity before that bomb is planted. They've got really good positions as well. Mezzi can run distraction now as Fasha has got a chance to stop that bomb from getting planted. And the clock is going to be a problem. Time to run away. That's a daylight robbery from Fnatic.
I think that's the first time I remember the clock costing LFO. They have been running the clock down low, but oftentimes succeeding. This time, though, Fnatic able to rotate over. Just enough done by those A players to make it winnable. And that early information, because they're so far forward, they're playing ahead of the A site. It gives that early information to allow the rotate over in time. So well done by Fnatic there. And maybe LFO speed things up now. They want action early. Oh, nade lands onto Lucky. They were just looking for that early fight, but Fasha replies with a smoke. And so back to the methodical game plan for LFO here. Oh, do they want this boost? It's a very common boost, but the molly is going to force Nikados away.
Just trying to hold on to the util for as long as possible. 40-second mark, I feel like, is always when the urgency starts to rise in around. Exercise looking to offer something towards A. They're splitting A and B at the same time. The A1 has failed, though, but it's not going to pull players away from that B bomb site. Well, Mezzi will be lost. Don't think he got to throw his incendiary, actually, so there's going to be big problems over there. So we've got fights all over the place. This is crazy. 20 seconds on the clock and it's spread across both bomb sites and finding success, LFO. Nikados finds himself alone. 1 versus 3. Anubis, the first map of the series. Very tall order for Nikados. 3 targets, 4 shots. But he's barely got time to defuse at this point. 6 rounds then for LFO as we reach the half-time mark. Again, that slow measured pace really punishing. Very nervous scenario, especially if you are the CT side. But Fnatic, who we haven't seen much of on Anubis, good for 9 rounds in that first half. They can't be complaining coming away with that, can they, Hawker?
Yeah, they'll be happy with that. They will be delighted with that CT haul. And as long as they got a decent T side here, they should be good to get this one over the line. But we will wait and see. We will be back with that second half after this.
Participating in this year's Gamers Without Borders tournament and using your love of gaming to make a difference in the lives of those in need. In games, you often have the chance to restart and try again. But for over 103 million refugees and displaced people, starting over can be an incredibly difficult and uncertain process. But you have the power to help by donating your winnings to UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency. Your contribution will provide essential aid such as shelter, healthcare, education, and cash to help these individuals meet their most pressing needs and rebuild their lives. Let's come together and show the world that gamers can make a difference. Thank you for considering this opportunity to help.
Very interesting game of Anubis we have on our hands. We came into this somewhat in the dark as far as Fnatic are concerned, but we've seen lots of promise from them as well. Lots of patience, which is required when you're playing a team like LFO, who are really, really punishing. Really hard to make plays when they are just waiting for you to edge forward too far. But despite that, Fnatic were able to muster 9 rounds on their CT side. They move to the T side now in a small lead, a good advantage for the time being, but that can quickly change at the conclusion of a pistol round. It's their turn to set the pace now, which we know likes to be slower and methodical as well. It'd be a tall order to be slower than LFO though in some of these rounds, but it's also not easy to play that slow style and be effective. Both these teams capable of that. And let's not forget that first pistol round was pokey proddy from LFO and not so successful. Fnatic will be increasing the pace with some util as well. Hadji with a 1-tap and some more. He's got some help as well. They're bunching up for him. Has he done enough? 2v3 for Fnatic as they plant the bomb on the B bomb site. Lucky still got the Julies, a smoke as well. Mezzi will even the numbers. No more Julies for you, says Mezzi. Magazine and exercise now. Did he see the leg there? I think they realize where he is. Can they work together though? He gets a 1v1 and Mezzi will hide in the corner and get that last kill. 3 kills for Mezzi in the round as Fnatic make their way to 10.
Yeah, that's an impressive 2-on-3 there, because you see just how many angles Fnatic have to deal with. That's not easy to pull off in that position, but Mezzi figures, you know what, I'm just going to get aggressive. I'm going to try and cut off one of those positions early. He does exactly that, catching that first rotating player, and then Nico Dawes had to turn on a dime to get that kill down towards Sewer, but was able to do so. And then Mezzi, the last man, they just didn't know where he was. He was set up perfectly for that final fight. And that was such an important pistol for LFO, but now that it goes against them, they need this force buy, really. You can't afford to fall this far behind this early on Anubis, which is seen as a T-sided map right now. Jocko going to go aggressive with Hadji behind him. Fasha holding. But, oh, 2 kills early. Crims comes in. The MAC-10 could clean up. All the kills coming in for Crims. And that B site is wide open.
Perfectly positioned. That MAC-10. Nice money as well. Round's not over just yet, though. There are 2 more players with 5.7s who are trying to find something. Full health Fnatic have got enough range to survive a headshot. But that range may slowly get closed by the likes of LFO. Oh, that smoke grenade is going to smoke off the entire squad. Now things become dramatically awkward for Fnatic. A scout in the hands should have saved for the 5-7, I think. Their Exercise has a chance now. This is so weird for Fnatic behind the smoke. But Exercise can't really hope to stop this bomb from going off. The scout will be taken as he slowly slinks away.
Yeah, unfortunate there for the CTs. They don't have a kit on those players, so they can't really just stick the bomb. And maybe they wouldn't have known that everyone was stuck behind that smoke anyway, but they might have been able to figure it out eventually. Either way, Fnatic doing a good job there. Crims making sure to clean up. A little surprised LFO got caught by Crims being quicker than they expected over towards A-Long. But now this is Fnatic's opportunity to get a whopping 12-6 lead. Still some guns in play for LFO. I kind of forgot what it's like to have some quicker rounds in play, James, but we've got another fast B here.
Yeah, some tempo in the game. Always nice. Had a lot of slow rounds today and yesterday. Very mentally taxing, though, you know? If you're in the server. Remember, people on train used to say, playing a team like Na'Vi, for example, when their Na'Vi were on the T side, it was just like terrifying when there's 20 seconds left. You have no idea where a play is coming. Not a comfortable position to be in. But once the buy round comes through in the next round, I do wonder what pace we'll see from Fnatic. I would imagine they'll mix it up a bit more. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, this is now going to be a key round for L4O. I'm not going to say must win, but if they do lose it, their chances go down dramatically. And we haven't really seen Fnatic go that deep into the playbook here for these early rounds. It's just been that B site over and over. It will be keeping some of those weak weapons into this first gun round on the Fnatic side, while L4O have all the primary weapons, all the premium rifles at their disposal. Got to see a step up from L4O now. Smoke down early. Does Mezzy get inquisitive? Crim's behind him. Oh, wow, they want to go through this. Jocko on the side, not ready for that pace.
Really big problems then. Macazine has a chance to do more than even the numbers here. If he can isolate these fights. Traffic jam, though, and that's going to cause so many problems. They're both exposed there. Rubbing shoulder to shoulder in the wrong position, leaving Exercise in a 1 versus 3. Very unfortunate for L4O.
Just bullying this B site, Fnatic. I mean, that one looked like it could have been a decent hold initially. But yeah, I love the pace. You can see L4O. I mean, they're just not ready for some of these quick moves. They're not ready for Fnatic to push a smoke like that. It just gets you so much ground towards B that it makes it difficult for the CTs to know how they're going to set up on their hold.
Very dicey situation there. A small margin. And Fnatic are pulling to 13. Looking good on his first round here. He didn't see Crims though. He would have heard the shot though. Could have danced around the pillar, but Fnatic were measured. That traffic jam, very brutal for L4O. Not much choice they have here. Lots of the players on 3,500. Let's see what they choose to do. There'll be a second rifle bought, but how much will they buy down to? And we see some MP9s perhaps.
Yeah, they got that big losing bonus, right? So Exercise should have enough money in the bank still, despite dropping that M4. So that gives them a little summit to work with. I just haven't seen enough of a team effort here from L4O. Really, the rounds that they have won. I mean, there was that Maka clutch. He's been the main man on the AWP. Hasn't had the chance to get that sniper out on CT side. And for Fnatic, I mean, this team always have a pretty even fragging distribution when they're at their best. Certainly the case here in this one. Fnatic's turn to slow things down. Big control looked solid for them with the initial mollies. Roy able to get up into position. L4O just going for some aggression out through B. They've actually won a fight there. So I think Fnatic might feel their hand is forced into going towards A now.
Streaming into the bomb site. This is the only smoke they have to hold position. Roy's been lost trying to lurk around at mid position as well. So there may be more weapons to be collected here. They won't get the one outside B. 4 of the players with Kevlar and the one without. Macazine finds Mezzy, the ding and a dong from the USP. What an awkward situation. Very bizarre round for Fnatic to lose.
Yeah, I think Mezzy set up that smoke purposely to almost like try and be able to sit in it. and have Crims pretend that he was holding the gap in the smoke. But clearly LFO were either just aware of that or they maybe spotted him cross, because he just got absolutely domed there. I guess it's just a very low-risk play for LFO to just try and spam that smoke just in case there's someone there. There's nothing you really lose by trying it. And as soon as that happens, they swarm in on the retake. Gameplay not too successful for Fnatic there. And now maybe LFO can start their grind on the comeback.
Oh, got to be real careful being close to the smoke there with tracers. Can make it so much easier to punish you after once there's been spotted. Oh boy, Nika does. He sees the Crimson. That did less damage than I was expecting.
Yeah. Those walls must be thick.
Yeah. It's full of hieroglyphics.
Nice shot, Fasha. Oh, and Roy's backing him up. Dealing with that aggression out through B. Just need to make sure you don't give this all the 1v1 fights, though.
Makazine able to isolate those fights. Does he realize one is too close? No. That leaves Lucky now as Exercise drops. Oh my god, Nikodos, what are you up to there with those last kills? Shot on the frag. Double the score of LFO now. Fnatic 14-7. As they are slowly but surely marching to victory here on the first map of Anubis.
Yeah, it does feel like Nikodos is pretty well suited to this map. Getting a lot of these closer range fights and doing a damn good job at winning them. I like the patience out through B long there as well. The Fnatic players say, you know what, we're not just going to go ahead and push straight in because we know that Roy's got a really good chance of sneaking in. So let's just wait for him to take the contact instead. And his kill did end up being the difference maker. Quite a few pauses on this map. Looks like we are ready to get back into it. Can LFO keep it up, or is this one too far gone? Feels like Fnatic are just finding ways into these rounds. Oh, Nikodos. Not the molly he would have wanted. Still looking for that pick out through B, but it's Mezzy who wins a fight elsewhere.
Big duels now as LFO are really trying to stay in this game. Lucky, Makazine, and Exercise. Lucky's been dropped. Makazine always finds a kill on this bomb site. But will he be able to find enough? There is the first one. Down to a 2-on-2 then as he smoked off, but that gives him room to play with. And less concern on one side. There is a flank coming from Exercise as well. And as they are concerned about that AWP, that could work in their favor. Indeed, it will. Exercise popping Nikodos. And Fasha has to wonder where his opponent has gone. He still has a minute on the clock here. And he is carrying the bomb as well. So he can just continue this journey to figure out where this AWP has gone. But surely, eventually, Makazine will start looking behind him. 39 seconds to go. Now, Exercise is... He's going back towards the B bomb site. It'll take him a while to clear it, though. Fasha needs to get his gun out. He's looking the wrong way, going for a reload, and Makazine will shotgun him. And LFO stay in the fight.
Maybe expecting the CTs to try and stay together on the same side of the map. Maybe just didn't realize the AWP had repositioned, but fair play to Maka. Good read on the position to just completely retreat. And ends up hitting him with the no-scope. Money's still sketchy on both sides now. Another important round for both teams here, and Mezzy has dealt with some of that early aggression, but it's a 1-for-1 trade. Oh, Ecstasy's again playing dangerous game for a second there, but gets the smoke down. L4O again going for that CT aggression. They've got Hadji pushed all the way out through B. That's some great information to have right here.
The grenade starts to move in. What does Exercise do? Well, there's not much for him to do at this point. There is quite a gap in that smoke, though. So he'll have a look. And that's the bomb that has to get retrieved. That buys some time. Lucky does some damage. Exercise will finish off the job. He's making this doable. I don't think we're going to see a bomb plant here. Crims is dropped as well. Nika does now. With the AWP in a 1 versus 3. 35 seconds. He's found a bomb, but he's got to get some kills first, surely. Does he dare race towards the other side? Doesn't look that way. Exercise wondering what's happening. Going for the quick scope, misses. And that's 9 for L4O. You do start to wonder. No bomb plant, no money for Fnatic.
Yeah, you just start to wonder whether L4O can pull this back. It is their map pick after all. And nothing to work with for Fnatic right here. Maybe a chance to get a gun if they can run down Exercise. Although, wouldn't be surprised if he dumps some utility early to try and deny that possibility. Ooh, they try and make the play, and the spray only good for 1. AK recovered now. Oh no. This could go wrong here for L4O.
Increasingly awkward for all concerned. Nikodos looking for a flank, and he may soon find one. Choco being very patient. Fasha with the Glock. That is a key difference maker. He picks up the rifle as well. How much do you want to lose now? Do you want to gift an AWP? Switching out for the rifles. Mezzy with 14 HP. Makazine looking one way, dropped by the other, but Hadji has the information down to the USP. He has a kit. He's got to find his kill quickly. Mezzy dancing, but he's got nowhere to go, and he still finishes it off with the Glock. Game point for Fnatic.
Damn, Fnatic find a way. That is crazy. I mean, it's just a 1 dig in this round. They jump out. Exus is only able to get 1, and then Mezzy at the end there, able to take down the low health player. Brutal for L4O. And look at what they're left with. Aka needs to buy something, man. What's he doing? Make up your mind. Finally gets a FAMAS. Lucky going for the early aggression. Flash out. Crims dodges away from it, but dies because of that. And this aggression has worked wonders for L4O.
Holding on. Not too far behind, but far enough that one mistake would be curtains. Very careful clearing of the angles there. Very jerky, just in case someone's holding an angle, and L4O often are. Bunching together now for the most part. Fasha showing some presence around the mid-area. 3 towards B for L4O. They won't see anybody in the water as they are looking. Mezzy forced through the flames. Roy's here as well, walking into the crossfire. And they won't see it in time. Hadji with 2. Nikodos not ready this time, and Fasha's lurk will prove useless on this occasion. Not much else for him to do there. Can they finish off the job, Fnatic? Or will this be a case of stage fright? First map of the European Grand Final here for a place at Gamers 8 in the summer. L4O are not done with this game of Anubis just yet. Not going to be easy to win 5 rounds in a row. Counter-terrorists win. But not impossible either.
Yeah, not impossible. Man, this has been a real intriguing game here. Not sure what to expect from Fnatic on this map. They have showed up. I think they've showed us a real solid level. L4O starting to come into things as the game goes on, and Fasha hungry for action there on mid. The mollies go down early. Maka holding. Flash comes in, perfectly placed. Maka wants to hang around, hits the shot, but not the frag. He gets run down, and this could be dangerous. Exercise also hits the deck. This could be it for Fnatic here.
This could be the round they were looking for. They're stuck in the smoke. That's such a brutal way to have to find your first kill versus a bunch of pistols. L4O. Life is cruel sometimes. This may be the cruelest round of them all on Anubis. Haji trying to isolate some fights here, but even with all this util, they know exactly where he's coming from. The point of no return is just around the corner. Into the hands of Nikados he goes, and Fnatic will take Anubis, the first map of this best-of-3 series.
What a map for Fnatic. They will be delighted with that. They win on their opponent's pick. Now they have every opportunity in this series.
Yeah, it's a great start for them, and we were very curious coming into this one as to how they would look on Anubis with not so much data out there, and I think the answer is pretty good. L4O clearly a awkward team to play against with their style, especially on the T side, but Fnatic were ready for it. Still managed to find the right avenues to push on occasion, sometimes not though, but was still able to build a good score in the first half and take it through to the second. Momentum certainly in their favor on Anubis. So they brought it through to the victory, and again, winning your opponent's map always going to be useful for you. So they put themselves in a very strong position indeed, with Ancient, the second map of the series to come.
Still ready to get into that. Yeah, I think overall, L4O, they just got off to that really slow start, and it's tough because you kind of need that T side on Anubis right now. You need to do well, and only 6 rounds wasn't enough for them. A long way for them to climb back into this one now.
Thoughts of the panel after the break before we get into Ancients.
Gamers, UNICEF and I need you by our side for a real-life mission. A mission to protect the rights of every child. After news cameras have left, UNICEF is here. Every day, everywhere, but particularly where it's needed most. Did you know that more than 170 million children need UNICEF's humanitarian aid this year? At Gamers Without Borders, many of you have already chosen UNICEF, and I thank you for that. Choosing UNICEF is the easiest and smartest decision you can make, because you're investing in a child. And investing in a child guarantees lifelong returns, not only for that child, but also for their community and for our world.
The divisions in the world are stark. Recent years have shown some of the largest natural disasters ever in history. And that really hits hardest the people who had the least to begin with. These people need help. It would be a real tragedy if all these advances in science and health and technology only benefit people in a position to pay for them. There should be no lesser standard if you happen to be poor. These problems can be overcome. Direct Relief is a humanitarian, nonprofit health organization. The focus has been on the least fortunate, most vulnerable people. On a good day, things are tough for a lot of people in this world and in this country. And what we can do is mobilize private resources for their benefit and make it available free of charge. We're the first nonprofit in the history of the United States to obtain accreditation just like a commercial distributor. And it's been expanded geographically to every country in the world and every state and territory of the United States. What's now Direct Relief officially was started in 1948 as a private effort of a war immigrant businessman named William Zimden. The basic guiding principles of a war immigrant businessman really influence what Direct Relief has done ever since. And they begin with just serving the people who need help. We have this great privilege of engaging with people who come in from very different backgrounds, but with the same purpose of trying to just do something good. It doesn't matter if you're typing or talking on the phone or working on the warehouse floor. They're all part of an effort that means something bigger, and that is the fuel that kind of keeps you going. It gives you some sense that there is a way to make meaningful progress, even for a little organization that started at a kitchen table, but that's what provides motivation in life. The notion that many people, just by virtue of where they're born, the color of their skin, the country they live in, they're going to get sicker, they're going to stay sicker longer, and they're going to die sooner. That's pretty good motivation. These issues are too big for any one organization to address. We really work hard to honor these guiding principles, invite people to participate, and we are sure thankful for the thousands of people across the country and world who have become part of Direct Relief by virtue of their participation.
Progress is a race that has no end. After every finish line, another challenge awaits. How can we continue to push innovation in a sport at the forefront of technology? This is how. Discover how Aramco and the Aston Martin Formula One team aim to meet Formula One's sustainable fuel targets. Aramco, powered by How.
Welcome back to Gamers Without Borders. We are one map down in our best of three grand final in the EU region, and Fnatic have kicked things off with a bang. Looking for Org. They're on the back foot right now. They're going to have to figure out what's going wrong if they're going to get back into this series. I'm in the virtual studio, and I am joined by Yanko and Kassad. You know what? Fnatic are doing what they're doing, and they're living up to the expectations, aren't they, Kassad?
Yeah, you talked about it before the game. His Nico was going to show up, and he definitely did. What the deciding factor of this game was definitely the first half. If you're playing a map like Anubis, you want to get more than 6 rounds on the T side if you want to have any kind of chance in winning this map. They decided. I mean, it's not their decision, but they played and they allowed Fnatic to get 9 CT rounds and the T pistol after that. It was just finishing up the job after that. So it did look a little bit closer than it should be, considering the first half, but Fnatic brought it to the end.
I think this game is actually a perfect illustration of the importance of the economy in Counter-Strike and also winning those key rounds, as we call them, or crucial rounds, right? So in a game in which Fnatic ended up winning 16-10, we've actually had L4O win more buy rounds, like buy round versus buy round. That was 8-7 in favor of L4O. But the problem is Fnatic won both pistols, converted. They won a full eco in that second half with Glocks on a couple of guys. They won a bunch of semi-buy rounds too. So it's not just about how many rounds you win, it's when you win them and in order that you win them. Just in the first half, it was 9-6 for Fnatic. All 6 rounds for LFO were gun rounds, right? If you win them in a slightly different order, you break the economy of Fnatic, you force them on an equal, you get a couple of free rounds as well in there, and the scoreline looks a little bit different for sure.
So economy playing a big part, but do you also think that there are possibly some cracks in LFO's play style at the moment as well? Are they playing too slow? We're seeing them trying to really slow down the pace of play to try and throw off Fnatic, but it's not always capitalizing, Janko.
Yeah, well, I think it's sort of the understanding of Anubis, or the general story is, the CTs can't really do much, especially in the mid round, right? So if the Ts just play it slow and use their utility well and take map control, there's not really much for the CTs in terms of responding to that. But, that's why we see more early aggression, more risk taking from the CTs, right? They don't want to find themselves in that sort of a constrained position. And also in this particular game, right, Fnatic with the pistol round win and conversion, having a bit of a buffer early on, starting off 6-1, I believe it was in this half, really helped them a lot to negate some of that T-side prowess on Anubis.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first half decided the game pretty much up to 80%. So it just needed that additional 20% of the T side, which they kind of got by winning that pistol.
I'm not going to lie, when they were down 5-0 deficit, when they won that next round and it went to 5-1, I was like, they're going to do it again. Don't do this to me right now. We cannot have this happen, because I know how confident you both were in Fnatic going into this. Actually, having said that, Janko, you went for LFO. I'm going to remind you of that. We're going to see how this best of 3 goes. But, I feel like LFO's map pick being Anubis and Fnatic taking that map, the pendulum massively swings in Fnatic's favor here, okay? They're now it's their map pick. It's Ancient. Kassad, what can we expect from Ancient? Again, for the viewers who maybe aren't as familiar with competitive Counter-Strike, maybe break it down strategically and how we're expecting this map to play out.
I mean, first of all, it's one of the, I guess, the second best map for Fnatic in their whole map pool after Overpass, but they didn't get to pick it. They didn't want to pick it. But coming into Asian, they seem to be feeling really good. They defeated G2 in a very convincing fashion at a major a couple of days ago, and they seem to be playing quite aggressive on that one. To answer your question, as the map goes, we discussed it a few hours ago in the North American region. It's all about the early map control for the Ts, because they have the advantage of getting to the positions faster than the CTs early on, but in the mid and the late rounds is the CTs who are making these plays and making these pushes and kind of organizing the rotation and the defense of the sites.
Something that Fnatic likes to do on their T side, right? Whether it's Fasher, probably Fasher a bunch of times, but that's sort of a deep lurk, late round when they're grouping up, he's very delayed, whether he tries to take the opposite side or maybe just towards middle, trying to backstab, trying to sort of help finish the round for his team. I think if you're LFO, you really need to be aware of that and perhaps leave one player a little bit longer, delay the rotation a little bit, so you punish him and don't allow him to take a whole lot of space.
Okay, well, just a little bit of background on this. In the past 3 months, Fnatic have a record of 7-4 on Ancient, so should be pretty confident going into this. Now, what I will say is, we kind of did this, I feel like we did this at the beginning of the NA broadcast as well, so I'm going to do this again. We're just going to have a little bit of fun here. Kassad, we've just heard from Janko a little bit about what to expect, how LFO should approach this next map, okay? But I'm going to give you the invisible headset, okay? You have 30 seconds, a minute to basically discuss with LFO how they're going to get back into this, how are they going to break through, how are they going to take home this second map and force the map 3. What would you tell them?
Well, the thing is, I would probably go with something like, listen, guys, we have been practicing. We need to stick for the things that we practiced. The first map went the way it went. It doesn't really matter. We screwed up some things on the opening side, but it's still not over. We still need 2 maps to win this. I would remind them on the pistols. I would remind them on the early protocols and the first couple of gun rounds that we agreed on before the match, and I would just try to keep them keep their heads in the game and just not thinking about what happened in the last map.
Okay, well, after seeing this first map, Janko, how's your predictions feeling right now?
Well, I guess what I would usually say, I would stick to my guns. So now I have to go against that too. So now I will switch to Fnatic and saying that they are going to win, right?
Okay, I mean, it's perfectly possible. I allow you to switch, man. We're in the spaceship, like, we're chilling. It's absolutely fine. What about yourself, Kassad? Do you feel like this is just going to be a 2-0?
Yeah, definitely. I'm sticking to my initial prediction. It's been going, well, I say semi-good right now because I missed on Australis, but we did hit on the North American region. Anyway, Fnatic should be good to take this one and finish it with the 2-0.
Well, it's time to find out. Let's see if Fnatic can close it out right here, or are we going to go the distance? It's time to go over to Bardolph and Hawker, who are waiting in the wings.
Thank you very much. Made sure my microphone was turned on this time, just in time. Yeah, I think Fnatic are certainly, quite obviously, in the driving seat, winning their pick of the opponent, of winning their opponent's pick, LFO. They're going to have to do things the harder way now on Anubis. But again, I do wonder if... I wonder how the early round is going to look. Again, we know that LFO like to punish. When LFO are playing on the T side, they like to punish CTs looking for info and so on. Sometimes we see those aggressive mid plays and pushes through B from a CT side. So my question is how that will work against the playstyle of LFO. Will they be able to cope with it, even against a team the caliber of Fnatic? What do you reckon, Hawker?
Yeah, I think Fnatic might have a bit too much here. I would have to agree with, especially what Yanko was saying. I'm excited to see if Fasha can get some of those lurks going, because even though LFO have been the slow-paced team so far in this series, normally that is Fnatic's wheelhouse. Normally Fnatic love those late-round plays, and I think now that we're on their map pick, we'll see them much more confident to go for a lot of those late-round maneuvers, try and maybe see if they can get into those annoying positions, always keep LFO second-guessing. And we will get to see if that is indeed the case, or whether LFO can surprise us themselves. And for LFO, yeah, I would say just play with a bit of freedom here. Take a few risks. Just try and make Fnatic uncomfortable, because if you play Fnatic at their own game on Ancient, there is a very real chance that they will just outclass you on this one.
I love the aggression that's invited by the layout of this map on the CT side.
I thought you were going to say by the music. I don't know why. I was like, yeah.
Now this is this is what, like, race music, I suppose. I feel like I'd crash if I was racing to this music though, or crash more often.
Yeah, it's a little quick, maybe a little fast.
It's like GTA race music, not sim racing race music.
Yeah, that's the way to put it. More arcadey.
LFO then will begin on the CT side.
No P250s? No Deegs? Guess it's a B rush.
Yeah, no Deegs, man.
You don't need them on that B site.
The bigger magazine of the Glock will be enough if they can close the distance, and it's already close enough here. Magazine waiting for the peak. He's eating a big flashbang. Super Mario Brothers from Fasha, absorbing the bullets, taking the crosshairs away, creating space for his squad. Roy with the opening frag. LFO are here though. Lucky on the way from mid. Crims keeping T spawn on us. They've got the numbers to do so. For now, retake util being thrown. And down goes Fasha. Lucky creeping forward now. The CTs continue to pick up frags. Suddenly Mezzy and Crims are alone. They had that entry, and that's all they've got here, Fnatic. The bomb is touched, and Mezzy has a great angle. They're going to have to offer some meat shields for this. Crims now needs to swing wide and go for that diffuser instead, but he won't make it there. And that diffuse will come through. That's a hell of a retake in a pistol round, especially.
Yeah, that is not bad. I thought that Fnatic were just going to be able to get onto the site quickly and work from there, but LFO keeping their cool. Mezzy maybe missing that initial opportunity. And then Crims stuck back, just a little too difficult to get back towards that bomb in time. Fnatic did get that bomb down though, so instant force right back. Their utility is really bad in this round, Fnatic. They've spent their early smokes all on mid. They're left with a single molly. And so they might just go for a contact play, potentially out through A here. Oh, the smoke denies them. That's so well timed. Now Fnatic have used all their utility on mid and they haven't even got control for it.
They've got the rifles though. Oh, that's awkward. Now they can play off of each other, and that makes it even more awkward. Into the meat grinder they go. Macazine running out of bullets. Lucky's got the range though. Does Nikados want to engage? Fnatic are quite spread out here. I wouldn't be surprised if Nikados leaves the A-bomb site entirely. He's going to retract at least. He does have Crims by the donut position, and Roy can maybe pull rotation now. Is it a double bluff from Fnatic? That bomb is moving away from A-Long, maybe at least to join his teammate in through mid. Although, Haji's going to have a superior angle, it looks like. Is Crims going to be ready for this? Oh no, he hasn't seen him. I don't think Haji has seen him either. Has he popped up on the radar even? Perhaps not, and there's now the bomb's been lost as Crims was focused on the A-bomb site. Things getting messy now as Roy turns it around, but who's going to rotate the bomb? Lucky heading towards mid. Crims clearing the bomb site. But again, it's Roy who has to cross in a 1v1 with 50 HP, 25 seconds on the clock here as Crim starts to move forward. Deagles remains out as he's got the MP9 as well, and Lucky has to wonder, do I hold in mid? Or do I look for a bomb carrier? 15 seconds, where can Roy even go here? This is so awkward. Lucky's at the advantage, race is on now. Can he even hold the bomb plant here? This is, I can't imagine he can. He's going to try, though, as Lucky will press forward. Bomb's been planted, and the awkwardness continues for Fnatic as the round is secured by L4O.
Oh, so dicey at the end there. I thought Fnatic might have made the right mid-round move, but then you just see the bomb getting dropped by itself. They couldn't group up because Roy was so far away, having taken that B bomb site. So once the bomb gets dropped, it turns into a very uncomfortable position. I was wondering if Roy would have the cojones to fake plant with that little time left. Lucky did start to run him down, but Roy realizes he doesn't think he can take that risk. He feels like he has to just go for the bomb plant. And hey, at least when you get the bomb down, you get another buy on the T side. And you have full rifles. So again, short on utility, but they can really keep on piling the pressure on here.
L4O need to build as much as they can. Lost their map pick, as you can see there. 16-10 on Anubis for Fnatic. Oh, so many lineups to absorb from this series.
Very nice.
It's a cheeky push from Crims, but the MP9 is awkward enough that Crims gets the kill. Lucky will trade by a molly. And Fnatic are super low on the numbers here. Not much to show for it. Some position, some presence shown by Mezzi. Bomb will make its way to join him. The L4O are posting up as well. They've got the time, Fnatic. But how did they get a bomb plant here? The bomb hasn't been spotted as Fasher is carefully making his way. They don't know if Donut's compromised or not, so he will be shift walking so as not to give any information away. But L4O is starting to wonder now. Retake positions on B as they're focused on Red Room, wondering where Fasher might be. No one peeking just yet, and with Donut being a question mark, how Fnatic plant the bomb? Haji getting closer to that mid area. Gonna have to take a risk here. Bomb getting planted. Mezzi clearing Temple. Spotting exercise, but not in time. He was low, but he couldn't finish off the job there. Fasher will get one more. But L4O will find their third, while Fnatic is still hunting for their first.
They just keep getting the bomb plants, though. I feel like the bomb plants just keep baiting them in. Just keeps drawing them back into these force buys. And I mean, you look at Fnatic's money and I mean, I wouldn't blame them for forcing again. Get plenty of AKs out. It feels so promising. Even in this round, when you're in a 2v4, you get onto a bomb site. And it is the force buy wars that will continue. I mean, the other obvious upside is that the CT economy is still very much hanging in the balance. So all you need is the one breakthrough round for Fnatic, and boom, you control the economy game. And we heard Yanko talking on the desk about how important that economy game can be. Oh, and Crims has found the opening kill towards mid here. Hadji able to trade, but instantly spammed back through the smoke. This is Fnatic's best opportunity yet to try and break through for that first round.
Big frags from Fnatic. Leaving Exercise in a 1v4. With the damage they've done in the previous rounds, Fnatic, this is their opportunity to build now. Lucky's got $200 before the loss bonus kicks in. Exercise will try to hold on to his rifle. A game of Ancient then for LFO to win, to try and take it to a third and deciding map to stay in contention for a spot at Gamers 8 in the summer. Nuke could be the deciding map in this series, should it get so far. Very early days, though, on Ancient.
Oh, man. You just work so hard on that CT side to stay afloat. And then you lose one round and you're full eco. That's just the way it is.
With the major still going on, you have to wonder if that's in the backs of the minds of Fnatic, if it impacts them much in a negative way. Does not appear so. Again, all these teams have lost many times. A feeling many will be familiar with, whether they want it to be the case or not. It's just part of being a professional player.
Yeah, I think, like, coming into the event, Fnatic, if you told them you were going to get to the 2-2 game and then lose, like, they wouldn't have loved that, obviously. They would have wanted playoffs, but it wouldn't have been a complete, disaster. But it's just when you beat G2 and then you lose to Into the Breach in that decider, feel like you could have made it.
It's got a sting.
Yeah. I mean, especially for Mezzy, man. Like, he left the UK scene for a reason. That's for sure. Yeah. Felt like the UK scene was going nowhere.
I'm telling you, man, the memes on the UK scene Facebook group from certain individuals who would beg me not to say who they are. I won't say who they are, but they was hilarious, man. The memes were off the chain, like it was crazy. I feel like if that was still going, it would be quite some banter following that series, and I'm sure there will be on a friendly, personal level.
Yeah, of course.
Those were good times, man. 3-2. Choco will have the FAMAS. Looks like the flashbangs will be key for LFO if they can find good angles to get some pop flashes in for their teammates. No incendiaries at this point, just smokes and flashes, so they'll have to make the right play. Fnatic gravitating towards the A-bomb site. Look at the control they've got here. LFO have focused on a heavy B presence with 3 players, and mid has been abandoned entirely. They'll have internal clocks, though, to start to wonder about Red Room, etc., but they're in a very dicey situation here. Now we can see Fnatic lurking around that Red Room. Lucky with the MP9. Just baiting them into angles for Exercise. This is working out, and now Makazine is retracting, still looking for his first kill, heading towards that Red Room position, but the flank is already on here. And Roy can stay in situ if Crims and Co can get off to something, but Crims has been dropped in CT spawn. Mezzy's still here, but again, they've got nothing to show for it just yet. Now Mezzy gets activated, the MP9 runs out of bullets, and Mezzy swings through. Nikador's left in a 1 versus 3, carrying the bomb. They know he's here as well. He's got to know that a trade frag situation is coming. Try to isolate some fights with the smoke grenade. He's got 38 seconds on the clock here. Very tall order to make something happen in this scenario. He could be shift walking away, though. They don't know that. He has time to make a run towards that B bomb site. So as he waits, you can see Magazine falling back to B, but Jocko will solve the problem on that A bomb site, and LFO will find a fourth.
Yeah, quite a nice reposition there from Jocko. Decides to get away from the big box so that he can be closer to his teammates, and even just so that he can play a safer position where it's easy to deny the bomb plant there. You have a really favorable angle from Donut. You could always just tuck back into Donut if you want to buy time. So I love that decision there. And looking for Org early into this one. Still got the buy from Fnatic. Big control is being established, and Roy has been having a good start to this game. Wanted to see if he could find a fight. Smoke denies him. Ooh, those shots landed, but it doesn't seem like Hadji heard. Roy still tries to go over the top, but he was there alone, and so loses out early. Ooh, ooh. Oh, one jiggle too many.
Always a
They're on to B.
Job to hold, and indeed the B bomb site has been lost now, but Hadji could be a nasty surprise for them. The health player will take the bullets and Nikodos will clean up. At least Magazine and his AWP to fall back. Such a risky situation going for those jiggle peeks towards B. If you do see people there, it often ends painfully in such a fashion as we saw. So the beginning of Ancient will be close then. With the pace of these rounds, it feels like we're in the second half already, but we're still in the early stages here.
Still early doors. CT economy is just shattered though. It's about as bad of a position as you can be in on some of these players, where you only have the $1,900 loss bonus. So even if you full save, you're not loving the look of your buy going forward. And maybe that just tempts LFO into going for a bit of investment here.
Something about Fnatic stickers, which are just always going to be good. One of the best logos in the game. Hasn't strayed too far from the original either. Looking at email sports. Let's not even get started on EG.
Yeah, I like it. I've always liked Fnatic's logo. Like, we don't get many oranges in esports either, so
yeah, it's a great pop, especially against the black. We've got plenty of black as well.
Hello, Hadji. Snuck out behind him. Oh no, Maka doesn't.
Oh dear. Now, what is their read? Oh, they're not wondering why would he just swing into mid like that? There must be a reason for it. Very awkward indeed. Smokes are out. Fasha is dropped, lurking in that mid position, trying to cut off the rotation. That gives LFO a numbers advantage and maybe a rifle to be rescued if they can spare the time. Nikodos will be very important here. Currently looking for a flank as his teammates have got reasonable positions. There is a smoke for Lucky. That could be very painful for Fnatic. Oh, so fast from Nikodos. Still looking for the flank, and suddenly it's on the way. Roy's got the angle, though. Ready for it, or is he? Down he goes. Now there's all the information for LFO. They don't have a kit, though, for this, so Nikodos has to die quickly. Jocko will be chasing. No kit for him. All he can do really now is try to rescue a rifle, but he'll be unable to do that as well. As long as it's successful, that's all that matters for Fnatic. Score is now tied.
Yeah, a bit of B-site success. even after losing the initial trades, Ecodo's just doing a great job there at getting that pick back and then even playing the late round on the edge of the smoke. Not easy to play the way Nicodos does and play it consistently, but he's doing a real solid job so far. And L4O again forced down to one of these low buys. Ooh, a main aggression has been handled by Mezzy, although he's taken a slap in the face for it.
Run away and protect that pin. Nothing but the chirp of the birds keeping L4O company. No primary weapon for these players. I wonder if we'll see more primary weapons for the CTs in CS2. Battle arms make a very nice rifle.
Nice.
Maybe that pistol in the new John Wick movie.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. I need.
He did his training at a place called Taron Tactical, which is in California, and they mod competition, target shooting, guns, and all kinds of stuff. So there's lots of interesting things that could be done.
Ooh.
I haven't seen the movie yet. Yeah, L4O back on the buy once again. Behind now. They trailed Fnatic after leading early. Airstrike from Fnatic won't yield any results. So we see the first frag dropping exercise. Oh. And you're at donut position. I saw 2 X's on the radar and I thought, did I miss something? But no, I think it's just a bug, which is fine. Haji forced to fall back now. Molotovs exchanged around that B bomb site as L4O are being forced from their positions gradually, painfully, sharply. Lead in the face is not recommended by your doctor. 3v5 now as L4O will be isolated one after the other. No one there to trade. Nothing else for Lucky and Makazine to do but try to save.
Yeah, it's getting tough now for L4O. And you can just see how top-heavy the scoreboard is on the CT side. Axis East went down early in this round. And just seeing Maka and Jocko struggle so heavily, it's a shame because Maka was looking real spicy on that first map. But all the spice removed. It's been a bit bland here for Maka. Oh, and that's just a great shot from Mezzy. Not even allowed to save. Oh, lucky dice to the bomb, of all things, after getting tagged up.
This is suddenly looking quite rough for L4O. These rounds feeling very dry. But again, just the process of utility from Fnatic as they advanced on that B bomb site with position was really fun to watch. As L4O were just, you know, their intentions, their plans were thwarted bit by bit. Jocko maybe has a chance now with his 20 HP to land another headshot somewhere. Cause a bit of chaos. There's time for Fnatic to stabilize. They still have a lurker in Fasha. Mezzy, the can opener on the A bomb site. He did his best.
Alrighty. Low buy going as expected. Roy gets caught, but everyone else here, Fasher, mainly cleaning up the final couple of players. They got to see some signs of life now from LFO. They will be fighting aggressively for mid. Ooh, Flash is coming through. 1-for-1 trade initially, and the CTs decide they're okay with that. They're going to tuck back. I doubt Nico does goes much further with that AWP. Certainly not without rifle assistance.
Roy surely goes down here. Okay, the man knows his angles. The crouch peek is in. I love how sudden the crouch peek is in Counter-Strike. And I wonder if peaks like that, the way the movement is at the moment, you know, I imagine people want it to be the same, but it seems to be a tad slower.
Yeah.
That'll be so devastating in the new game. Maybe the slower pace would give some players a newer lease of life. Now that is quite the AWP we're seeing. 3v3 then, with 38 seconds on the clock. Fnatic heading towards the A bomb site. All of the LFO players are somewhat separated at present, which really puts a lot on Lucky's shoulders here. Roy may go down quickly with 6 HP. He'll have to go in first and surely find out where these CTs might be. There's a trade from a patient Nikodos. Fasher to plant the bomb then. Joko and Makazine moving together. Makazine 1 for 9. Really needs to get to work with this AWP. The CT side as well. Exercise has been doing the heavy lifting, but he's not in this round now. 2-on-2. Joko's the one with the kit. Nikodos with eyes on the bomb. Jumping past the angle, may have seen the AWP, it delivers. Does Fasher have the angle? Where could he be? He's got a good angle for this one. Joko's the man with the kit, and you can see Makazine has no idea where to look. He's got the kit, not holding the bomb though, and it's going to be too late. Fnatic move to 8.
Yeah, Maka not even able to save at the end there. These rounds getting somewhat close, but Fnatic always having the edge, even after this kill from Lucky. We're able to trade him out. Get that bomb down. And Fasher peaks at the right time. Such little time left. It was just a little too tricky in the end there. LFO not really able to put up the fight we were looking for here. Remember, they had that 3-0 lead off the back of the pistol. And the full gun rounds have been so convincing here for Fnatic. This time, it's only one CT defending B. Smoke about to come through. Our players cave to try and help, and ooh, the spam will work out from Joko. His teammates falling around him.
CT side looking real rough now, every other round like this. Again, your sniper with 2 kills. After all these rounds. Not the best time to go missing. Great util usage from Fnatic. Just delaying, buying more time, making things more difficult. And there isn't really much for LFO to do here, but die. 9-4 then for Fnatic. A strong T side on Ancient so far. And LFO have been looking for answers as well as Orgs in this half.
Yeah, got to see if those answers are coming in the gun round here. Warp again out into this round. But as you were saying, has not had the sort of impact you would want it to. Finally, Maka gets something going early in a round. Pick in towards mid. So a clean 5-on-4. Ooh, staying active as well. I like that. Resting with the advantage.
Love these air raids we're seeing all over the map from Fnatic. Now that's 3 grenades in one spot. And it's Fasha who's lurking into B with the bomb. Or lurking behind the smoke at least. And there's no support there. No one to trade the frag. Well, Nikodos was around the corner, but he has been lost as well. Maybe Fnatic playing against expectation of rotating elsewhere after 3 grenades land on the B bomb site. Hasn't worked out on this occasion though. This will be a crucial round for L4O. Everybody stands at the end. Great for the last round of the first half as well. Let's see if they can make it to 6.
Yeah, that would be nice for them. Again, the kill distribution from Fnatic. It's so pleasing to see so many players so close together. Definitely one of the reasons I enjoy Fnatic as a team. Often you get an in-game leader who's just not a big fragger, but Ezzy, one of the biggest fraggers on this Fnatic team as the leader. Not that there's much to separate them. So mid-control established in this one. Fashion needs to be a little careful here over towards B. Aggression has come down in towards this area. Flash in. The Fasha wins the fight anyway. Back to a 4-on-4 and donut control will be contested now. Mezzy nearly naded down to death.
Looks promising for L4O so far. I see Crim's lurking now. Icon of Fnatic. Lucky with a quick peek, spots Nikodos and the bomb in the middle of mid. Makazine waiting as well. Fnatic playing a slow game here at the end of the half. Nikodos will be rotating that bomb towards that B bomb site. So now what does Mezzy do with a 7 HP in Donut? How does he get involved in the action here? Crims has been lost. Makazine with a perfect angle. That leaves Nikodos in isolation, which compromises Mezzy's plans, surely. 20 seconds. You have to expect 2 players to be on this bomb site. Now things get really rough. Nikodos does not have the time to wait for his teammate to catch up here. There's Mezzy coming in from the back, and Nikodos may have found a bomb plant. That Molotov will be crucial. We can see Haji's position behind it. Nikodos spots, but doesn't swat. And it's down to Mezzy with 7 HP then. They've all got kits as well. Does he have his angles? Does he know his angles? Surely he's doomed indeed. Instantly, he will be dropped, and it will be 6 rounds for L4O. A tense first half of Ancient. A difficult affair for L4O after a promising start. But it's all about how you finish, and perhaps they've done enough.
Maybe. Looking good for them. Got to see if they can keep it up, though. And yeah, Fnatic definitely looking good right now, but L4O keeping themselves in contention. We'll see how this one unfolds heading into the second half after this.
At Gamers Without Borders 2023, I chose UNICEF. Being there for children is not only a noble cause, but also a smart investment in humanity. We chose UNICEF to ensure that everything we do through Gamers Without Borders will have an impact on the very, very long term. A child will grow up and our impact will grow with them. Too many children are left behind in forgotten crisis. Children don't only need our help when cameras are pointed towards them. UNICEF is there at every step of the way. And we're proud to join UNICEF on this mission.
LFO need to stay in the fight here on Ancient if they want a place at Gamers 8 this summer. They are a map behind. They lost their map pick of Anubis, and they're trying to take Fnatic's on Ancient. Can they do it, Hawker?
Yeah, it's. I think it's going to be a close one. I honestly think. I feel like LFO are getting into it there. I hope that they can come through at least. Maybe I'm talking more optimistically than anything, because Fnatic should still be pretty firm favorites here in this one, let's be real. But I'm hoping they can put up a good fight here, because for LFO, obviously a huge opportunity for these guys. I mean, already making a bit of a name for themselves with some of the wins they've got in this qualifier, but making it to the main event over in Gamers 8 would be incredible. And that is what they are fighting for right now, as well as that charity prize money, getting to pick the charity it goes to. Let's see how they can deliver heading into this second half then. Is Fnatic onto that CT side? And it looks like LFO might go for a similar pistol to Fnatic as they all go over towards B early. That's some good info. Oh,
lovely one tap from Nikador. Started you mean to go on, of course. Continuing the charge. The flashes are here. The counter flashes from the counter terrorists. 4v2 then. Lucky and Makazine have planted the bomb. How far will they go in this round? They're collapsing on Makazine now, who rings the bell. Too far away with the Glock, maybe. Perhaps it was through the wall. Either way, Roy and co will take the pistol. Fnatic instantly moving to 10, but there is a bomb plant here for LFO. So let's see what they choose to do.
yeah, that opens up the options. I think that is the nice thing about going for that B-sided play. It's so likely you're going to get the bomb down at a minimum. But I love how Fnatic seem pretty prepared for that B play. Saw Fasher was basically jump peeking for info, safe in the knowledge that it's really unlikely that you're going to get one tapped at range, especially if they go for a B rush. They're probably going to have Glocks, and then they have the counter utility. They have the mid players ready to come in on the rotate. Really well read by Fnatic to deal with that exact play. Full spy has come through, so LFO want to see if they can fight early. But some good mid control right now and some more aggression. Fasher is going to get dealt with there. Good hold, and look at all these kills for LFO.
Fantastic response from them so far. Suddenly in a very good position. 3 of the 4 players of Kevlar. Hadji, the one that isn't. Incredibly awkward now for Fnatic. Early problems. L4O being real careful about it, waiting for everybody to bunch up. And I imagine Fnatic are going to be chilling here for a while. Executing onto the site with what they have. There is promise then for L4O with this bomb plant with 4 players alive, all with primary weapons. It's going to be very difficult for Fnatic to not get fully reset in the next round. They're simply not going to have the money to mount a reasonable defense. Again, eyes on Makazine for this half. It was terribly quiet in the first half. And perhaps he can make amends in this one. He could be the difference maker to bring it to a 3rd map, perhaps.
Definitely possible. This round win has really improved their chances if they can keep the CT economy down. And what is the decision for Fnatic? I mean, their money's so bad. You probably go for the full force around this one. I've got to wait and see. You never know. Definitely would be nice for L4O to see a couple of those players you were talking about step up. I would really start to give you confidence in the team as a whole, as a unit, rather than just some of the players that have been delivering so far. Brief pause here ahead of this one. Hopefully can get back into the action as soon as possible.
L4O have got a fair chance to aim for 10 rounds in the short term. Tell themselves that they've created a situation where they can quickly tie the score and aim for that target. Short-term goals to focus on. One player's popped to the bathroom, so we'll be back in action soon.
Happens. Hopefully, shouldn't take too long in this one. Yeah, definitely still feeling like Fnatic are favored here, but I'm kind of glad that L4O got this force buy win, right? It gives them the chance to get something going here on Ancient. Because otherwise there was a chance that Fnatic were just going to run away with it. And when L4O fought so hard, it would have been a shame for them to just be beaten convincingly. You want to put up a good fight at least once you get to this final. Seen a lot of Ancient played by L4O as of late. Not too successful on it in general. They do have a few wins, but it's generally against weaker opposition. And the majority of the time when they're playing against a top-level team, a team of similar caliber to Fnatic, they haven't been winning on this map. Whereas Fnatic on a nice little streak. This is in fact the map that Fnatic played in a couple of their best of ones up until this point. Looks like we are ready to get back into this one. L4O will be here with the better buy, but they still have this force buy to contend with some of those saved rifles in play as well. Ooh. Ooh. Decent damage for Mezzy. Okay. The spam damage goes both ways.
So let's see what Fnatic is trying to achieve here. Well, Crims is taking a lot of risks with this M4. That will allow them to close the gap, although rotation will be awkward unless they find a frag on to exercise in that mid position. Will they be checking for him? Indeed, they will be, but he turns around at just the right time. Can see Nikados is trying to hunt also, gets his bell rung there. That'll make things painful, but Crims, he could be the main activator here as Fasha slows things down. 2 players on the ramp. Can Crims get there in time, though? He needs to get to work before Fasha is dropped. Nikados coming through from that mid position as well, and they are never going to see Crims coming. Looking for a second, great pre-fire from him, and Nikados has a great angle. Dream is collapsing for L4O, then as Haji's in the clutch, 1 versus 3. The trade here from Fasha. The proactiveness from Fnatic, playing against L4O's timing on this occasion, and they're able to steal a very unlikely round back into their favor.
Yeah, that's a big round to win. Snatching it straight back. Couple of rifles in play for them in the round, but it is that fight from Nikados that starts things off, and those rifles just able to activate at the right moments there. Can be a difficulty with that B site sometimes. And buys for both teams now. Both teams are breaking point here. Crims with a solid spray down initially. Roy with a nice spray on the edge of the smoke. This mid control being denied in its entirety. And Mezzy even takes control of B. Looking for Orcav, just none of the map right now.
Crims is here to clean up the mess, drop the bomb as well, leave Lucky in a 1v3. There is more impact to be had here. It'll be very difficult with the angle that Fasha is holding, though. Moving through to be denied. 12-7. Creeping forward, Fnatic. Getting closer and closer to a position at Gamers 8 to securing it. Great tournament coming up. Again, that lion's share of the money to be awarded to their charity of choice as well for that first place position in the qualifiers. Air raid again from Fnatic. We saw so many of those on the T side, and they'll continue on the CT again. Great attention to detail. Shout out to Kita in the back as well. Big counter-strike brain. Ooh, it's run out of bullets with the wall banging there. That is awkward. And Roy definitely doesn't want to lose that rifle, but he has. Rotation is here. They're somewhat contained now. Crims will certainly help out there, forcing his way forward through the smoke to get domed as well. And now Fasha will start moving. We can see that boost is here. The double peek is on the way. Oh. Great response from L4O. Will they look for Nikados? They won't. Down to the 1v1 now. A minute on the clock for Joko. He's got to commit to the bomb plant as well. Respect. Trying to make his way towards the ramp. There's no smoke for... There's no diffuse kit for Nikados. He does have a smoke, however. And he's picked up a flashbang. I think he's realized what is happening here. Doesn't throw the smoke just yet. Does he read a rotation around to the side? He only has so much time, bearing in mind there's no kit. He rings the bell. And there is the defuse. The headshot not enough there for Joko. Collected a kit on the ramp, I suppose, to get there even faster. A narrow victory, but an important one. Again, every step is a step towards Gamers 8. Only 3 more steps required.
Yeah, man, that would have been a criminal round for L4O to win, with Maka just getting Glock kills all over the place and starts to hit headshots with a rifle. I mean, fair play to Maka. He is stepping up as we were asking for. but not quite enough to win the round this time. Eco does come in through with a clutch for his team. Has been the bottom fragger for them, but has still been having a solid game. Only died 8 times. Been a pretty efficient game for Nico Doz. Nice to see him delivering in the clutch there in that one. So, what do LFO have for this all-important gun round? What approach do they try and take into this one when they really desperately need a round win? Because if they lose this, the road to come back is long and not safe. Danger would be around every corner. Ooh, Mezzy. Gotta be careful.
The usual start then. Very important to try and control this as much as possible. Got to be careful with his reload there. You can see Lucky's looking for it. As Lucky hears that reload and the position edges through the smoke. Look at all these players here for Fnatic. They have intentions and they're all bad. Will there be a flash? Flash has got one. Gonna be the big wide swing, and Crims will trade Makazine. Hasn't seen a bomb behind the wall. Again, this slow pace from LFO will continue. That bomb will need to be collected. They're looking for action around that donut position. Crims has taken so much damage through the wall there. LFO, you can just see them on the radar, edging forward towards that donut spot. They've lost their lurker on A-Long now as the bomb rotates, but to where? Surely it has to be through mid. Does he go towards long on its own? That'll be quite dependent then. Nika does, spots the head, he spots the bomb as well. Was he seen there by Lucky? Oh, he must have been. He was, and that's the big jewel that they really couldn't afford to lose. They're taking gambles here, and they are never going to get there in time either. A brutal loss for LFO. Sometimes a slow pace goes wrong.
Yeah. And Fnatic are a team who know how to play against the slow pace better than anyone. They play it themselves. Little time left. They get the info they need, and Nico does, just getting into frustrating positions. LFO unable to find the end goal they were looking for in the round. And Fnatic closer and closer to the 2-0 victory here in this grand final. Such a convincing lead for them now. Be hard pressed to find a way back for LFO at this point, but they at least have a couple of AKs that they saved from that round. The other player's not even fully investing though. Round 22 is upon us. Oh, those nades on point. Maka slowed on his approach.
Too many targets might be seen. How about that for a drive-by? He's so blind. That last shot did all the damage needed. Can Nikados follow up? Look at the pre-fire from him. Oh, that's so awkward, isn't it? Just one shot required. He's got to think, God, that's embarrassing. Hope no one makes a clip of that.
I didn't even know how that's possible. I just thought if you just like were running, one stray bullet would land.
Sheer desperation. Wanted to keep moving, not to be a sitting duck, even though only one bullet was required. That was... Oh, I felt like I was playing.
Scary, scary situations for both teams. I mean, the bomb's been left back by LFO, and Roy is pretty close by to those double doors. Eco Doz now rotating back. This has got pretty uncomfortable pretty quickly for both teams. Nico Doz, nice timing on that fight. Roy is now on an island towards B. Oh, he swings at just the right time. That bomb can't be recovered. And Hadji has so much to do.
This is a rough one. Maybe hiding in plain sight was the play there. Oh, he's got money to buy an AK anyway. That was crazy, though. Just that last bullet, had to really make sure he landed that one. They were the replay ops are kind enough not to put that spray.
Yeah.
I understand it though with the urgency. You know, he really doesn't want to get clipped, but it's still funny to watch. Anyway, it's match point, series point for Fnatic. Tournament point, if you will. One more round and they qualify for Gamers 8 2023. This is the European qualifier, the open qualifier. And they have 1 foot in the door. L4O have struggled on this T side. They have many rounds to claw back now.
Yeah, Fnatic so close. Have to think they're going to get this one over the line, but maybe L4O have some fight left in them. This aggression on mid could be nice. Flash is on point. It's actually a team flash apparently in the mix, but Crims fights right back. So solid Crims has been throughout this map. Up to 20 kills, leading the server. And we'll see if they try and test him any further here. Ooh. As he adjusts back through the smoke. Crims not able to win that fight. That's a great shot from Hadji. He's got into top mid, but elsewhere, Mezzi with another frag. Fnatic 1 away from victory. It's Hadji who's still fighting for his team. But the bomb is so far away from him, all the way over in Jaguar. Hadji's waiting for a mistake that I don't think will come. He's going to have to go to them. He's going to have to go to the bomb. Still 50 seconds. Finally, he'll try and make his move. Oh, Hadji, he is going to be double peaked. Fnatic get it done. They take the victory 2-0, and they secure their spot at Gamers 8.
Massive victory for them. Can't wait to see the spectacle at Gamers 8 in the summer. That's a very big victory for them. A lot of money won for charity by Fnatic, and there's more for them to do later in the year as well. A relatively comfortable victory despite that slow, painful pace from L4O. Again, Fnatic masters of the trade, showing L4O how it's done in this series, winning their opponent's pick first on Anubis, something we don't see from Fnatic too often. And then moving through on Ancient to secure the series 2-0. They'll be certainly happy with that. Something promising after missing out on the playoffs at the major. That's something that they can look forward to in the near future. So congratulations to Fnatic for qualifying for Gamers 8. That's going to be very fun to play at indeed. And again, the amount of money they raise for charity there is also fantastic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think well-deserved win, we have to say. They looked pretty comfortable, honestly, on both maps. I'd say Anubis was maybe a little sketchy for some period, but just such a strong start for them. And then here on Ancient, it really looked like they were by far the better team. They showed their class. They showed why they were favorites in this one. And for looking for Org, I mean, they showed a decent level here, especially with some of the wins they were able to get. They obviously get to choose some money for a charity of their choice as well. So obviously, always nice when you have that to fall back on. But yeah, Fnatic, clearly the better team here in this one.
Yeah, congratulations to Fnatic. That's us out. Over to Banks.
Thank you so much, James and Hawker. There you have it. Our team sort of qualified for G8. MIBR from the NA region, and Fnatic from Europe. They've done it. European champions there, 2-0. What a compelling performance. They'll be competing at Gamers 8 later in the year alongside the best in the world, and like our caster said, for that $1 million prize pool. I'm joined in the virtual studio by none other than Kassad and Yanko. You know what? Kassad, you all right, buddy? All along. You know, this is why you're here. This is why you're an analyst.
Pretty common thing these days.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day, so.
You know, he's got the crystal ball, you know, that he was talking about during the NA bracket, so it's fine. You know, a much more even start to Ancient, though, we've got to say. Yanko, you mentioned how, you know, how vital T-side is on Ancient, okay? So, like, you can get to the site quicker, thus set up more efficiently. So L4O actually got on the board pretty nice and early and capitalized on what you guys were talking about. But then it just kind of all went a little bit pear-shaped, didn't it, buddy?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it showed Fnatic's prowess on the map. They most recently played G2 on it, had another comfortable win. Also, yeah, Fnatic did lose the pistol and couldn't really break LFO early, but they were getting the bomb down every single time, so they could keep putting up the pressure on LFO's economy. And once they were finally able to win a round, you know, that really was a big momentum shift.
You know what? This is just a taking care of business from Fnatic's side. You know, I have been on the receiving end and I have been on the delivering end of this type of matchups when you kind of feel that you are the better team and whatever it is that you do, you feel like that the opponents cannot stop it. There was like an early glimpse of maybe a possible upset for looking for ore, but ever since then it was just a one-way traffic and they didn't have any chance in the mid rounds, in the early rounds, and in the clutches as well.
As Kassad is trying to say, sometimes you're the bug, sometimes you're the windshield.
That sounds fair. There you go. We've got the European bracket updated for you there. I mean, looking for Orb did an incredible performance, like taking out Astralis out of the competition, just couldn't quite get it done against Fnatic. They'll be moving on, like we've already said. Also, huge props to Crims and Nikodos as well for an insane performance throughout that 2-0. I mean, got to give credit where credit's due, right, guys?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about the fact that they are inconsistent, especially Nikodos, but he, you know, showed up today despite the fact that they got eliminated from the major in a very excruciating way. So, and they managed to get their spot into the Gamers 8 event, and it's a pretty good thing for the org and for them as well.
You've spoken about their individual performance. Who is your MVP of the series? Yanko, I'm going to come to you first. Con, you can choose an MVP for us.
I think I'll probably go for Nikodos, mostly because of that first map and the impact it had there, but in the end it was just a comfortable win for Fnatic. Everyone was doing their job. You could tell, you know, they were on point individually, because a lot of those rounds, mid-round pushes, this and that, it's like if they don't trade there, all of a sudden the round opens up for LFO. They can maybe take the side, post plants and whatnot, but they were just really good at always being one step ahead, forcing LFO to play from behind. And, you know, a team like them, they were going to have some serious struggles.
Yeah.
So
I feel like you are the true MVP here because you have been in the spaceship since last night, so you gotta give you some credit for that one. But when it comes to the game, definitely Nikodos with the impact on both maps, especially like Yanko said, on the first one, and even in the second one, he got some of the late round clutches, especially in the second half, as we can saw in that 1v1 as well on the B side. Like some things like that, they make a difference.
You know what? I'm past the point of tired. I feel like the air's just really thin up here, so everything is good and well. Now, if you want any more information about the tournament, the charities, or the qualified teams, then you can just head over to gamerswithoutborders.com to check out all of that information there. Thank you so much for joining me here at this competition, throughout this entire charity event, throughout all of the esports that we had on offer, but also mainly today with all of our Counter-Strike action that we brought you. Thank you so much to my fellow Counter-Strike talents who joined me on this broadcast. You guys have been fantastic. Production, this has been an absolutely phenomenal show to work on. I mean, just look at this. I've had a great time. Thank you to all the players for taking this game to new heights, as you do, and thank you so much to all of you at home for watching, for supporting all of your favorite teams throughout all of the competitions that we've had. We've raised $40 million for charity over the past 4 years at Gamers Without Borders, and I'm sure there is going to be more to come. We've had 2 teams who have qualified for Gamers 8 later this summer in our Counter-Strike competition, and we cannot wait to see how they do in that tournament later in the year. My name is Banks. I'll see you at Gamers 8.